Hello, all you tiny people that live in my computer. My name is Finn, and I spent the past 20 minutes or so trying to fix said computer. But now I'm back, and it works, and I'm able to make things, and I'm happy. Today's video is sort of a note for myself, I guess, about my Spider-Man pitch, because there's so much. Oh my god, there's so much. Whoa. And this will be like the baby version of that, because I made a version of it a year ago, and I've updated it a lot since. So this will be the last, like, draft for it. And then in the future, I will be doing individual videos for the things. For example, the first one being the first film, which I would make a video about just that. And it would be like an hour of me explaining story, characters, action, like everything. Whereas this is just kind of me listing them to you. And it's also a good way to have a note of myself saying things, because it's way easier to hear myself say it rather than just read it 50 times. It'll help with me figuring out like what I want to change or what I want to add, stuff like that. So, with that out of the way, disclaimer, this stuff can change. Anyways, first movie, Spectacular Spider-Man First Flight. It features the Vulture as its main villain, because I like the Vulture as Peter's first, like, bad guy. I think, having him be the oldest, being the very first one he has, I think that's always kind of interesting. And also, the Vulture's been around for a fucking while. Like in the comics, and he's been around for a fucking minute. The Vulture has cancer, and he's doing genetic experiments with Oscorp, becomes a monster, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you know. The Shocker's there. He's kind of a secondary villain. He's an asshole. Southern Shocker, by the way. I like when they make him Southern, because it's kind of funny to have just a Southern guy running around robbing banks. Meanwhile, there's like, it's in New York. Build up Goblin. Don't show us Goblin. Build up Goblin. And then you have Freshman Year, which is a animated show that takes place in that like first year of Spider-Man, mostly about Tombstone and his gang. I love Tombstone. I think that character's really fun. I think you can do a lot with the character and with his lackeys. Like, Hammerhead's really cool. For example, more hints about Goblin. Second movie, Curtain Call, is about Mysterio, who in this, instead of being like a failure everywhere, he's like Peter's theater teacher, and that makes us have a little bit more of a tie to the character, because, you know, Peter, Miles, Miguel, Gwen, whoever, being tied to their villains is really important to their characters. So, you know, have that first movie be, because like the Vulture can fly, have that be where Peter has to learn to web swing. He has to catch up with him and stuff. Whereas in this film, because Mysterio is, you know, a theatrics guy, he's all about like smoke and mirrors. That's where Peter has to learn how to use spider sense correctly. He's got to learn how to move, how to dodge, how to understand what things are real and what aren't. Because I think that's a fun way of forcing him to learn these things about himself. Shocker ruins a play of Quentin Beck's, and this slowly builds Quentin to be a villain. He doesn't have any mutation stuff like Vulture did, however, he does go to Oscorp to get his tech. At the end of the film, Mysterio was killed by Shocker, who was teaming up with Peter. Build up Goblin a lot more. In the third movie, same stitch, ha 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 ha. Goblin is the main villain, and he starts as like on the glider, little skinny dude throwing bombs, and slowly becomes like the big mutant, like Hulk that he is in like the Ultimate universe. So there's that. Shocker is not a secondary villain here. In this, he runs the fuck away because he's terrified of the Goblin. You have like the whole like Gwen's falling, Peter save her, because her death's been done a lot now, especially especially after Amazing Spider-Man, that has been touched a lot. And, well, it's a little boring. I think something way more interesting would be if Peter saves Gwen and she chooses to not be a part of his life anymore due to all of the danger and stuff. I think that's way more interesting than her death, because then instead of Peter worrying about who he can and can't save, it's I can save people, but will they still be around me? Will they still be a part of my life? Because I think that could be really interesting. Then we got a show, baby, on Disney Plus. The Black Cat. Give us like 5, 6, 7 episodes of just Black Cat. No other heroes, no crazy shit. It's just Black Cat. It's her backstory, it's her ties to the mob, it's the stuff about her dad. She's not a hero in this. She's not an anti-hero. She's a villain in this. In this little series, she's a fucking cat burglar. She steals, she hurts, she kills. And have that be part of who she is. And then fast forward to Spider-Man Last Hunt. I wonder who this could be about. Kraven's the main villain. Wah wah. He buries Peter under Ben's grave. And that's kind of when we get the big, like, reveal. What reveal? Peter's got the symbiote. Oh no, he's got the black suit. Oh, he's wearing the... And then you get the Eminem song. So, that's what happens. Introduce Black Cat as a member of the cast. Have her and Peter be friends. For now. Kraven fucks Peter up. And then Peter gets the symbiote and fucks Kraven up. Cat stops him from killing Kraven, and they leave. But then, Kraven is killed. By the Scorpion, baby. Whoa, the Scorpion. Whoa, baby. Whoa. Whoa, the Scorpion. So, Scorpion's there. And he says, fuck you, bitch tits, and kills people. And then we get Spider-Man all grown up, which is 2000, which is like, I don't know, 10 episode series of just Cat and black suit Spider-Man fucking people up. It's the end of Tombstone. We get Peter really fucking angry. He doesn't really mean shit because he's really mad. And you get him and Cat working sort of as a buddy cop for a bit. And I think that could be really neat. Don't actually make it like 20 parts. Make it like 6. Symbiosis, baby. Scorpion's the main villain. Scorpion uses his shit to almost kill Peter. Peter says, fuck you, I got superpowers. And then Scorpion does the same thing to Cat and puts her in a coma. Because Peter can't have anything go his way. At this point, Peter and Cat are kind of like, you know? Peter almost kills the Scorpion, but then he removes the suit and fights him again. But now, without the suit, he beats the fuck out of Scorpion. No suit needed, he paralyzes him. So without the black suit, he still does the worst thing he's ever done. And then, in the film, not literally on that scene, there would be more, whatever, but what? And then, amensalism. If you don't know what amensalism is, it's like the opposite of symbiosis, I guess? Like... Let me get the exact, like, definition of it. Amensalism. Okay, yeah. So, in symbiosis, there's, like, eating you, and then in amensalism, it's more of the thing where, so, like, Creature 1 is getting harmed, where nothing happens to Creature 2. Creature 2 is not gaining or losing, it's just there. So that's that. We get the Venom movie. Ooh, baby, the Venom. But about Venom. Eddie Brock's here. He's been around for a few movies. I just didn't feel like pointing him out, because this is the rough draft. Film ends with them working together to save civilians from a falling building. Venom is crushed. Oh no, he's dead. He's dead. He's not dead. Then we have a show of 10 episodes, just Lethal Protector. It's Venom in California. Him and Eddie are one and the same. Mwah, 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 mwah. Have the Tinkerer be their main villain, because I think that's kind of interesting to have Venom facing, like, a super tech thing. I think that could be interesting. Then we have Sensational Spider-Man, with the tagline, "The Sand and the Serpent." Whoa. And this is movie 7. Lizard and Sandman are the main villains. You introduce Miles, do not have him be Spider-Man yet, but he is there. He's part of Peter's life. They be friendly and such. You introduce Doc Ock as Peter's, like friend. He not a bad boy. Him good boy. Him just Dale. Lizard eats his fucking kid. I love the Lizard. And I love when they make the Lizard dark as fuck. And it's been a minute since we've seen something really fucking evil of the Lizard. Make him eat his kid. Have him eat his kid. Come on, have him eat his kid. Come on, it's not that bad. Just let him eat his kid, you know? Just let him eat his kid. Then we get another show. 5 episodes, baby. Daredevil, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. It's the Miles show. Miles is learning to be Spider-Man. He's got like this buddy cop thing going on with Daredevil. The Shocker comes back. We introduce Kingpin and introduce Prowler. Do not get rid of either of them. Just have them be there and be big fucking deals. Kingpin is so high up on the list that Daredevil and Miles will not get near him. It's a thing of, we can't hit him or the whole city's fucked. And then with Prowler, he kind of just like shows up every once in a while, and he's not main focus. He's like corner of your eye, you could miss him in your first watch through. Sensational Spider-Man, Behind the Mask. Doc Ock is the main villain, and he's the very first of the villains, Venom doesn't count, who, like, knows who Spider-Man is. He knows Peter is Spider-Man. And he figures that out before he becomes a bad guy, because I think Otto's fucking smart. He would figure it out. Rhino's a secondary secondary villain. Because I think Rhino, Big Brute, working alongside really smart Doc Ock is fun. And then towards the end, Ock and Rhino sort of take each other out. Maybe you get like the shattered dimensions like through the top of the building thing. Like the Juggernaut thing, but it's just Rhino fucking careening Ock down. Rhino isn't typically evil. Most of the time he's misunderstood. And then the other half of the time he's just a guy in a suit, and he wants to not be in a suit. Or sometimes he's been genetically altered, and he didn't want that. And I think Rhino being genuinely apologetic and like wanting to do like what's right afterwards and like turning himself in and stuff and not breaking out 40 times is really interesting. So I think having him do that is pretty cool. Next up is Spider-Man Voices, the Sinister Six. Peter is gonna like pseudo-retire after this, because this is like the last Peter movie. This is the first time where Miles and Peter are going to team up for a film. Eddie's in control of the Venom, and he's here, so it's Venom, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man versus Doc Ock, Vulture, Lizard, Scorpion, the Shocker, and Goblin. Goblin almost kills Felicia. Pretty much the Gwen thing. But this time, Felicia does not choose to leave. A different thing happens. At the end of it, there's a thing where Miles and Venom are fighting Goblin, and the other 5 are all going for Peter, and Peter beats them all. Using his brain. Then, towards the end, Peter has to don the symbiote for, like, 8 seconds in a fight against Goblin, and he wins. And then immediately he says, no, and gets rid of that shit. And then Eddie takes it back. Hi, cat. And then we get the first Miles movie, Ultimate Spider-Man, Kingpin's Wrath. Miles' first movie alone. Daredevil will come up for like the first half of the movie, But for the most part, this is Miles' film. It's his first outing as the only Spider-Man. And you know, Miles versus Kingpin is really fun to me because I love that idea, because Miles is like... Miles has like a... Due to the fact that he is both black and Puerto Rican, there's like a certain underdog feeling to him, and the idea of that guy versus like the Kingpin, like the famous, rich, powerful white dude. I think that's fun. Then we get a 5-episode series about Cindy Moon, baby. We get a Silk show. Cindy shows up. She's really special. The main villain is the Mandarin, because I think that's neat. Also, it doesn't take place in America. And this takes place in Korea. Mandarin is like its dictator, and Cindy's going to fix that problem. Yes, she's a war hero. Then we get Miles' second film, a team up with Cindy. Whoa, Cindy x Miles. That happens. The main villains are Crossbones and the Prowler, because I like Crossbones. He's cool. He should be in more things, and the Prowler's awesome. And then as a gag villain, the Spot's there. So that's pretty cool. And then we get Absolute Carnage, which is the 12th of these movies. Can you guess who it's about? Carnage. Miles, Silk, Peter, Black Cat, and Venom all work together to beat up Carnage. Venom dies. Carnage kills him. He's dead. Peter ends up beating Carnage and retires completely. He's like, I'm done. Fuck that. Black Cat also retires. Peter and Cat get married. They go a lot. Peter and Felicia go. And then from this point forward, Miles and Silk are the only spider people. Venom's not around. Peter's not doing this shit anymore. It's Miles and Silk. It'd be the Spider-Man and the Silk. The Miles and the Cindy. Then we get Superior Spider-Man, which is Miles and Silk work together perfectly. That's in quotations. They work really well together. They're a good team. The Hobgoblin is the main villain, whereas the Chameleon takes place as the secondary villain, but he kind of builds himself up a lot to be like pretty much a main villain, but not in like the marketing. Hobgoblin. Oh no, the Hobgoblin. So you know what Superior Spider-Man is? A Doc Ock taking Peter. Hobgoblin is gonna do that to Miles. Yeah. Superior Spider-Man show, baby. Hobgoblin is in Miles' body. Mr. Negative is the main villain. Hobgoblin will learn to be Spider-Man and kind of has like the Doc Ock superior character arc. Then we get to Amazing Spider-Man. Hobgoblin is going to give up the body back to Miles and give him like your Spider-Man thing. And then Cindy and Miles are gonna be great again. Hammerhead's gang is the main thing. Mindworm is a character that's here because I read a comic about Mindworm, and now Mindworm's a part of this. The Spider-Men get hurt. Oh no, the Spider-Mens. The Spider-Mens are gonna have some issues. And then post-credit scene is Deadpool making fun of Miles, which leads to Spider-Man x Deadpool, baby. Miles, Cindy, and Wade, they be friends. Taskmaster is the main villain. Juggernaut is the secondary villain. And throughout the film, Wade is going to bully Miles. He's going to bully Cindy. He's going to bring up, you're not exactly who I wanted to work with, talking about Peter, stuff like that. But then, at the end of the film, he's going to have like a genuine conversation with them. And instead of being like, haha, you're not Spider-Man, he's kind of going to give Miles like, you are Spider-Man. He's going to give him like the you're Spider-Man thing. Whatever anybody says, you're Spider-Man. And I think that would be really fucking cool. And I also think Deadpool and Spider-Man friendly movie would be cool. So there's my 15 Spider-Man movies with what, 3 shows, I think? 1 show, 2 show, 3, 4, 5 show? 6 shows and 15 movies. I like Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man. So there's my Spider-Man stuff. If you have any thoughts, any ideas, or whatever, tell me. I'm interested. So I will see you guys later, and thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.